Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Seamaster Qatar 2016 ITTF World Tour Grand Finals. Welcome to Doha. It is women's singles quarter-final. Please welcome from Hong Kong, China, the number 16, world ranked number 16. Please welcome Yana. And please welcome from Japan, the number 9 seed, world ranked number 11, Miu HIRANO. And your officials, the umpire from Egypt is Majdi Edris. And the assistant umpire from Jordan is Hussein Mohammed Al-Jawaka. Ladies and gentlemen, it is women's singles quarterfinal, Yana versus Miu HIRANO.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Seamaster Qatar 2016 ITTF World Tour Grand Finals, coming to you live from Doha, Qatar. The fans are waving their flags for the Japanese players with smiles, and we are excited for a showdown here between Yana of Hong Kong and Miu HIRANO of Japan. I'm Adam Bobrow, and with me, Paul Hand. How you doing, Paul?
Good, Adam. Looking forward to this. And of course, as regards the winner of this one, well, Han Ying, the 11th seed at the very top of the draw, lies in wait after a big surprise yesterday, of course, with Ding Ning pulling out.
That's right. The number 1 seed, world-ranked number 1, Ding Ning, fell to a fever and was not able to continue despite her flawless record in her head-to-head match against Han Ying. So the short pip chopper will continue on. As you mentioned, waiting in the next round. For a moment, you had a chance to see the coach on the other side, Wei Nakazawa, and there, Chen Zhenhua from Hong Kong. Now, Yana, world rank number 16, is the 5th seed in the tournament. She's 37 years old. This is her 10th World Tour Grand Finals. She has 9 World Tour titles to her name and took the very first one of 2016 in Hungary earlier this year. On the other side of the table will be Miu HIRANO, nominated as the Breakthrough Star this year at the ITTF Star Awards. Very impressive performance, taking the World Cup on the women's side, beating Chung Yi-Ching and many others along the way, including Mima Ito. Now, Paul, Mima Ito was definitely the first to break into the limelight of her generation for Japan, and as Miu HIRANO cools her head in the back of her neck, she's staying calm, coming out of the shadows, breaking out to move in front of Mima Ito after a few months of strong performances in the lieu of a few struggles on the side of Mima Ito.
Yeah, she's been wrestling against defensive choppers, hasn't she? She's lost to 3 over the last sort of month or so, and it's sort of almost haunting Mima Ito, losing out to Han Ying 4-2, and Han Ying then rightly getting the walkover against Ding Ning. So it's Han Ying in the semis. But yeah, shame, Mima Ito, you know, such a bright future. I'm sure she'll be back. There's no doubt about it. She's a super talent. But at the moment, it's all Miu HIRANO.
Miu HIRANO now playing in the Chinese Super League, showing more impressive power. In the last year, she was at world rank number 19 for some time, and many people might wonder, how did she break into the top 20? She just seems incredibly consistent. But now, in addition to the consistency, her timing, her strokes are so short. She's on top of the table, she moves well, she's grown a little bit in height, and she just generates more power on both sides than she used to. As far as how these players got here in the tournament so far, Yana in the opening round beat a chopper, a long pips chopper from Japan, Yuka Ishigaki. And interestingly enough, that was a 4-3 victory, 7-gamer. Get back to you about the pips situation, but Miu HIRANO in the opening round, also with a 7-gamer. Everybody who's qualified to be here, top level, not just anybody in these tournaments. Feng Tianwei of Singapore, who recently beat Ding Ning in the Chinese Super League, fell to another Chinese Super League player, Miu Hirano, a foreign guest in the Chinese Super League. So two players who had 7 games to get here. And this is going to be a best of 7 as well. Head-to-head, they've only played once before, and it was Miu Hirano who won just earlier this year at the Asian Cup 3-0.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Adam, isn't it? How, the top half has really bottomed out in terms of like top seeds. What with Ding Ning going as seeded 1, Feng Tianwei seeded 4th, they're all out. So that bottom half, the top half of the draw, really opens up big opportunity for one of these two athletes to go on and take advantage against Han Ying later. What an opportunity.
Now, one thing I will say about Yana's game is that her strokes are very efficient. Now, this generally happens with age. Players tend to run around a little bit less. But Yana's backhand is so unpredictable. Her placement, her change of angle. You'll see throughout this match that she'll bend the wrist and hit it out wide to the forehand when you least expect it. Heavy topspin on both sides, and she sees the ball so well as it comes off the table. So we'll see what happens here. Miu Hirano, in addition to being the World Cup champ, also took the Polish Open this year. And as we mentioned before, made the Guinness Book of World Records as a 14-year-old, taking a World Tour Grand Finals title in 2014 in Thailand. She's going to start us off with the serve. There's that backhand of Yana, some extra spin right down the middle of the table. Takes the first point. Backhands are so crisp, Paul, just quick off the bounce.
I was just thinking exactly the same. There's something impeccable about the timing of that shot. It's just a standout sort of signature shot of her game, isn't it? Gorgeous to watch. You never tire of seeing it. 1-3. And given that as well, you would anticipate that this player, Miu Hirano, will be just, sending most of her attack towards the forehand of Yana.
And it's going to be tricky. If she gets it there too clearly and it's not wide enough, Yana's going to have a full forehand stroke to respond with. This shovel serve both sides have used. Talked about it yesterday, how we see it more and more from Chinese players and others sort of taking the hint and following the lead. Excellent touch, the read on the wide backhand corner. Yana is getting the racket out to cover. Well placed too, right down the line. Now Yana, actually born and raised in China, came over like her husband, Tong Peng. Together they have a 3-year-old son who loves playing the guitar and rocking out. But she's been quite dominant and one of the strong players to lead Hong Kong. Again, Du Hoi Kem and Li Ho Ching, the next generation for Hong Kong, taking the spots of Yana and Zhang Huajun. Now, one thing we haven't seen yet from Miu Hirano, which is typically quite effective, her serve tends to really bug people, but her backhand, the amount of spin that she gets on this shot, has been overpowering and real trouble for many people. The contact so fast, just right.
Oh, absolutely. Deja vu. Beautiful backhand. Indeed, they both have.
Look at this recovery shot, the top of the net. Miu Hirano jumps and still keeps it on the table. This is one of the most difficult things to do. It's like catching a foul tip in baseball. Look at that, gets it right back on the table, low to the back.
Wow, what a high-octane start from the Japanese player. She is wired totally. Indeed, both of them are. This is a fascinating start.
She's starting to play the angles, the high-risk shots coming off the side. Once again, a break off the edge. Much like yesterday when we saw Jung Young Shik quickly pointing to make sure that there was no question. The officials see that the ball clipped the edge of the table. Apology first, business second.
Interesting, Adam, to see how Miu Hirano is going to respond, because big win for her yesterday against Feng Tianwei, ousting the 4th seed, and psychologically how she dealt with that, how she slept. She looks fresh and dialed in from the off here, and almost like she's taken a lot of confidence from that scalp.
And that's actually the second time I think she's holding on to Feng Tianwei's scalp.
Yeah, 2-1 in head-to-head now.
Just recently in Philadelphia at the Women's World Cup was the real breakthrough performance that jumped Miu Hirano up to world rank number 11, just outside the top 10. I wouldn't be surprised if come the new year Miu Hirano is in the top 10. This match might be a determining factor, although she is the favorite to win against world rank number 16. Wow, the power, the crack on the ball.
Back to that topic about the ranking, it'll be interesting to see whether, you know, as you say, I'm sure she's going to crack the top 10. Will she oust Mima Ito at 9th? Really is warp-like speed, these opening exchanges here.
You know, it's funny, the back and forth, the motivation. I think it's very good that both Miu Hirano and Mima Ito have each other. Even if they're best of friends or if they're competitive inside, trying to outdo one another. Trying to outdo one another could be the motivational factor that really pushes them to be stronger.
Very much. I mean, we often see this, don't we? You know, in several sports, you've got somebody that you're going toe-to-toe with. It's just a bragging rights thing, isn't it? You want to be the number 1 in the pecking order for that team, and out of the young pack, I should say.
Right, this could be the best gift that Miu Hirano has, is the motivation to step up in front of someone who broke into the top 10 so young. It wouldn't surprise me if Miu Hirano passes Mima Ito by, but I don't think that'll be the end of it. I think they'll both continue to climb and leapfrog over each other in the world rankings. Tying it right back up at 9 points each. Third towel break of the game. Miu Hirano, very, I would say, cool. And the way she does it, watch her on the towel breaks if you have a chance. She knows immediately to go over. It's by rote. Talked about rituals. She's just so well planned, and everything she does very well rehearsed.
Thunderous backhand receive cross table there from this young player. Wow, that was just oozing confidence.
Yeah, as soon as she sees the first bounce of the serve, she knows it's coming long, starts to tuck the head of the racket back into the belly, and finishes the point. There it is, a crisp forehand down the middle into Yana's body, and she takes it 11 points to 9. Miu Hirano, the 16-year-old, in the lead in the best of 7. We'll be back for game 2 right after this short break. As we come back for game 2, Miu Hirano in the lead. The fans here now with some supervision, also fans coming from all over to see Miu Hirano, superstar in the making. She's really built quite a name for herself in the last year. And at the Star Awards, had a chance to see her on Facebook Live practicing her English. She really loves it, and she's learning. She's making her way up in the English-speaking world, slowly but surely. Wow, what a combination. Comes around the outside of the ball, This is a Simongo Z receive. This is creativity at its finest. Look at that, a flick of the wrist, a bit of side and top, and follows up with the wide forehand. Miu Hirano clipping the T2 logo on the net there. Some excitement in the table tennis world. I'm sure you'll be hearing and seeing about quite soon. Now, Paul, this is what I expected to see more of. Trouble on the receive. So many players, even in the Chinese Super League, having studied and seen the serves of Miu Hirano, still can't quite figure out the contact on the shovel serve.
I like Hirano. I love the way she plays it. Like you said yesterday, she's got a lot of creativity, imagination in the way she does it, but she also adds consistency to that as well, which kind of smacks of self-belief, and she really does believe in her skills. Chinese Super League has got to be answerable to that.
Definitely a big factor. I know that in the Japanese women's program, you've got about 30 professional women's players, so they're the strongest right behind China. If you look at how many, again, on the World Tour, what, 6 out of 8 in the under 21, 6 out of 16 in the women's singles. I mean, Japan is very present here, and if you look at the average age, the young players, Ai Fukuhara is not here. Ai Fukuhara is still a fine age, but compared to her other teammates, I mean, she is the senior member of the women's team. There's still talk about her coming to Tokyo in 2020, so we'll see. It's going to be a tough battle for the top few spots. And this is also an interesting topic as far as who deserves it and who's going to bring the most ticket sales. I mean, decisions to be made by National Association. Sometimes if you have a young player, but everyone wants to see the superstar play, that's what's going to fill the stadium and get the ratings. It does factor in.
It does come down to commerce, doesn't it? And pounds and pennies, dollars and dimes, yen.
Yen. Oh, perfect play. As strong as Yana is from off the table, we've already seen Miu Hirano demonstrate her angles. Anything she can do to back Yana off the table. Still has to hit it off the side there. Very wide inside-out shot.
Super acceleration off the forehand from Hirano there. Really getting hold of that one and rushing Yana into error off that normally ever so solid backhand.
A little bit of a floaty push into the body. See this one more time here. A little bit deeper, not trying to keep it as short. But Yana thinking there's a bit more spin on it than there is. Miu Hirano to the center of the table for her shovel serve. It's tough enough to get the first ball back for Yana. The follow-up, again, the angles of Miu Hirano. So versatile in her game. And you had mentioned how consistent she is as well. I mean, this comes with incredibly focused practice. I can tell you in the practice hall, some people are a bit more social than others. Miu Hirano, very focused. And it's not that she's not a social person. She's very kind. You catch her after a tournament at any moment when she's not getting ready for a match, but man, is she lasered in.
That's good at 16 years old. That's a rarity, isn't it? Really super work from her there. Good to hear. Yana, well, it must be difficult for her psychologically to deal with this. She's being pummeled at the moment by this youngster, and it's sort of, ego-wise, that's a tough thing to handle, isn't it? When well, she got a 3-year-old son, and she's 37 years old, and here is the next generation of table tennis staring you right in the face and bringing it on. She must want to almost bite back with something, but made an impression with that backhand, as always. That's been her stalwart over the years. Strong standout feature of her game. But other than that, you almost feel Hirano just has a little more. Said with respect.
Oh, that was the end. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the versatility in Hirano's game, too. I mean, she's faster for sure. She's shown the angular play. She just has a lot of variety right now, most of which is coming down on the table. She has so much different weaponry out here to put into play that she can rely on. The rare occasion, you know, we saw the replay of Yana playing it right into the crossover point, the middle of Miu Hirano. Now it's just a 2-point game. Hirano can't get too comfortable with the lead. Oh, look at this. Breaking the pattern, opening the shoulders, and playing it behind the momentum of Yana coming back to the middle. Fools everybody with that last forehand.
Yeah, a little back behind, very clever.
Again, very corner of the table. Now, something you brought up earlier about the age difference and the psychology of it, sort of the beauty of this sport. I mean, we saw Samsonov, 40 years old, with a tight match against Yuto Muramatsu at 20. We've seen Tomokazu Harimoto of Japan at 12 years old beating 2 men in the top 100 of the world. I mean, you know, Omar Assar of Egypt, one of the top 2 players from Africa, standing about 6'4", 6'5" maybe. And a 12-year-old comes out. So this is what you have to deal with, you know what I mean? So much different, so much versatility in sizes, physiques out here. In another game, Miu Hirano hangs on and brings back the lead, 11 points to 7, 2-0. We'll be back for game 3 as Miu Hirano continues to take on Yana.
By 2 games to 0.
As we come back for game 3, Paul, you and I were chatting a little bit during the break. And in that chat, there's some interesting stuff to talk about with pressure and, you know, losing to youngsters and how that goes. It's something I think a lot of local players can definitely relate to. The national championships in many countries, we've got all these young kids playing the old-timers and just dominating.
Yeah, and it's really refreshing for the sport, isn't it, when you see these new sort of teenage prodigies coming through. It really is, no doubt about it. And the media love to get hold of it and, you know, really ring it out. But, I mean, Yana, obviously a good, solid player who's been around for a long time. And, as I say, you know, she's had a young boy now and come back and won a title this year, the Hungarian Open. So, a very wise, foxy old player. But, it's just fascinating watching the whole dynamic unfold here. Like, has the game moved on to the next level the way it always does? It evolves, as do the players. Right, sometimes the older player kind of just goes with the old trusty strengths that they have, like the backhand, which is exceptional. We know that from Yana. But is there any more? Are we going to see anything else that's sparkling? Any additions to her game?
That's a break for Yana. Manages to keep it deep on the table with some topspin, but if Miu Hirano has that much time to step around, and as Yana off the table that much, that ball sits up a little bit. Hirano should win that point 80–90% of the time.
I think just to stay at your ranking level as well, you need to almost add on 10% every year to your skills. Interesting to see what else Yana can bring.
Right, it is constantly. I mean, the higher you get in the world rankings, the more people are chasing you, trying to take your points. There's just less for you to get from other people. And think about Ma Long right now. He can't steal points from too many players. He just gets little bits. Even for beating Fan Zhendong, he's not gaining a ton of points. And the way he was playing yesterday, we'll see. That will be an exciting match if the two face off. Wow, power on the forehand side. Again, if it's clearly to one side, She has time to drop the racket and get a full stroke in. Not a lot of time in that replay, but still you could see the racket head coming down just a bit. I think it's interesting you brought up the game evolving. A lot of the classics will say that, you know, since the ball changed, there's less creativity. It's also interesting seeing like Karakosevic, for example, still playing quite well. Plays as if it was almost a 38mm ball. He plays with so much touch and feeling. It's just fascinating to watch. Very unusual for a lot of the young players to battle against today.
Body language telling its own picture there from Yana. Just looks a little dejected after that. A lot of work to do out here. She's trailing 2 games to love, but locked in at 3-all.
Well, we saw this yesterday with Chung Yi-Ching taking the first 2 games. Before Ju Yuling, it was a very tight game 3. So for Yana to have a real standing chance here, I think this could be the turning point. Watch how Miu Hirano waits just to see if that ball comes down off the top of the net. This is again playing it till the very last shot, but some fast-paced counter backhands. Both players know well the pace of the women's game, backhand to backhand.
Yana managing just to get that ball out of the slot of Hirano there, having to just reach, and the further you reach away, the more the muscles kind of lock up and lost the feel of the racket head there. Unable to control it fully.
That extra spin from the backhand again. Physical fitness, timing, and training. Miu Hirano, and she really gets her back into it, starting with the legs. Really a lot of body on that shot.
Yeah, it's very loaded, those legs.
A little heavier push, though, to combat it. Try to deter that ripping backhand. See the point of commitment there from Yana on that replay. As soon as she saw the first bounce, opens up the face of the racket, comes in for the push. I thought that side-swiping receive would cause some trouble for Yana, but no, just a merciless...
She bullied that response, didn't she, on ball 3? Crunched it.
That sends a clear message. Try that again, I dare you. Think you can trick me? And that can be quite disorienting as well. Yana playing the ball way wide to the backhand, forcing Hirano to sort of recalibrate and center herself again. As fast as Hirano is, if she has to go way wide to the corner, it's just going to be a little bit jarring to rebalance and get a strong shot in again.
Especially for a shorter athlete as well. That's quite a strain, you'd imagine.
Very curious. I was looking at the shoes of Hirano, and I wouldn't be surprised to see her grow even a bit more. Just thinking about the height of the players on the Japanese women's team. Yui Hamamoto standing much taller than the rest, but there's so many, it just reminds me, so many young women fighting to be the top of the team. We talked about the Tokyo Olympics coming up in 2020. It could be a push to make sure that they stand the best battle possible against China. They really are the best hope for the world right now in 2020 to contend with China. Still a long ways to go, but we'll see. Making some serious progress.
Yana then causing just a few more problems in this game. Each of the games has been fairly close throughout so far, but this Hirano just looks a little bit more pensive. She's got more to think about. Nice variety from Yana.
I think you said it right there. Variety is what is helping her so much. Miu Hirano is not comfortable recognizing patterns because they're breaking all the time. We've seen wide shots to the backhand, fast shots out to the forehand, right in on the body. From long pushes to everything else, a long push can be very effective if it's deliberate, if it's right at the baseline of the table and used to surprise the opponent.
She's upset with herself there because it's terrific receive. Pushed it right deep.
Hirano just so comfortable there, opening up so much topspin on the backhand. Ooh, a recovery. Hirano with a big shot there, but Yana ready to rock and roll, brings it right back with pace. From the top of the net to this ball, tried to play it in the middle. Yet Yana so cool holding her position. She knows she's in the right spot for the ball she just hit. Now 2 game points to take her first game. There it is. Backhand serve cross court. 11-8, Yana making her campaign for a comeback. We'll see what happens in game 4 after this short break.
Reduces the arrears to 1 game. HIRANO leads by 2 games to 1.
Coming back for game number 4, Miu Hirano still in the lead, but now only by 1 game as Yana brings a little bit of momentum to the table. Again, with experience comes wisdom, comes change of pace and variety. We saw it in Li Ping's match versus Ma Long. Typical, again, older players tend to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more experience and intelligence. Miu Hirano with the swing. Did she get the fly? Tough to tell from here. She had her hand in there. She's like, wait, I haven't cleared yet. Heavy push for the first point.
She's had a lot of success with that because Miu Hirano likes to stay tight to the table, and that heavy, deep push is troubling her.
Very subtle contact on that backhand again. The wrist, so much versatility. It's tough to tell when she's coming under the ball, when she's pulling up, how much.
Well, she had such a sparkling start. That's what we've become akin to look at, isn't it? But so far, just gone off the boil a little, and that's credit to the experience of the elder player here with her back to us in the replay, who's just asked a different kind of question more often. Wow, it's a thunderous unleashing from the Japanese youngster, but what a terrific block in response here from Yana. Look at that off the backhand. How does she manage to keep that on the table? That's a bit of a turnaround here.
It's not the first time we've seen Miu Hirano look a bit rushed. Last time that block came back from the backhand side, she knew she had a closing window of opportunity on the forehand and tried to rush through it. And here, getting the ball off the top of the net, sat just a little bit high. Similar situation.
And it's kind of self-induced because she's so reluctant to back off the table, isn't she? So she's kind of almost rushing herself because she stays so tight over it.
Right, I guess it's a fine balance from a placement standpoint, definitely to your advantage for the most part to be close to the table as much as possible. But still sometimes, as Ju Yuling got coached yesterday, to just calm down a little bit, relax. It's easy to get tight and tense. Muscle memory doesn't need too much more stress. It's funny, it's the attitude about stress, I think, just understanding that the body is responding the way it needs to. Survival instinct sets up that backhand. Looked very loose for the shot. Trying to read the body language and the facial expression from Miu Hirano after this shot. I don't know if it was almost like a finally, it's starting to settle in. But it wasn't necessarily a satisfied look. It's just like one small step in a long journey. It's also not the first time we've seen Yana win points from off the table with her backhand loop. The arc of the ball, the heavy spin on it. The second one, you could see her footing was a little bit better. First one, a little out of reach, and then from right in front of the body is able to whip and put that extra spin on the ball, keep the threat.
Thunderous from Hirano in response. In those backhand-to-backhand exchanges earlier in the match, we saw the Japanese coming out on top a lot more often. Not so of late. I think testament to the fact that Yana is just adjusting her court position, right? Just showing a different look.
Yeah, she's definitely keeping her game unpredictable. We've seen her move around a bit, change it up. You know, you start to get a sense for what's happening on the other side. You learn a pattern. While you don't dwell on the past, you do sort of learn from it and keep it in mind enough to make sure that moving forward you're playing wisely. This is where the trickery of breaking the rhythm comes from. Yeah, the fly's really just loving the table. Miu Hirano, even now, look how focused she is. I think both players had a moment there. Yana looking for her own. Yep, both sides. I don't know if anyone's keeping score of that game as well. The pace again, so well timed. Just a step behind, but Yana so fast. Comes in quickly. And her recovery from those wide shots, it's almost like she never even hopped to the side. Watch how fast she's back and centered. Yana does what it looks like she's going to do and takes this game, it'll be quite interesting to see psychologically how Miu Hirano handles. Yesterday she was down 0-2, came right back.
And to her credit, she's mixed the play so effectively, Yana, in a very dictatorial position here. 6 game points to square this match.
Well-placed parallel down the line, and the lob will not come down. 1 game point saved by Hirano. Brilliant play right off the bounce. The angles again. Yana with the placement and the surprise factor takes the last 2 games now. And we're tied up 2 games apiece. We'll be back for game 5 to see who takes the lead right after this short break. So the score sending some clear messages about the change in momentum out here. 11-8, 11-5 after losing the last two before it. Yana is here and ready to take care of business. But we'll see, the game is ever evolving, and with the coaches in the corner, the wisdom, the strategy over the years. The coach in the corner for Hirano used to coach Maki Shiomi. There's been a little switch. As they say in Japan, Rui Nakazawa, as he was called in China, Rui, although the Japanese last name as he's moved over, has helped him settle in quite nicely for the team. It's going to be a real tough ask right now. Hirano's going to have to figure out ways to, for me, if she can play it short to the forehand, get Yana in a little bit too much play deep to the backhand. The thing is, Yana is solid in the short game as well. We've seen some outstanding forehand flips throughout this year. And there's a backhand from right at the baseline of the table to put it away.
She's been dictatorial from this side of late. The last couple of games have just been imperious, bullying the points from there.
See how uncomfortable the style is right now for Hirano. Yana so loose in that wrist. It's funny how certain points make a different impact on you and just really make an impression in your memory. But the backhand from the middle of the table out wide, to me, is a shot that I'd remember.
Well, we saw, from the start of this match, Miu Hirano just dictating from all over. Forehand, backhand, just thunderous winners, just smothering Yana. But now the tables have turned completely and she's just not been allowed to do so. That was more reminiscent of the first couple of games.
Yeah, very aggressive. And I was just thinking about the match. I think it might have been Johnny and I who had it. But Zhuang Zhiyuan yesterday not changing up his game as much from the point of service. When someone's having trouble and starts losing games consistently, they really have to think, what have I not tried yet? What can I pull out that's a little uncomfortable for me, but also for my opponent? And Miu Hirano does just that with a fast, long serve and playing the angles again aggressively.
Increments of doubt just creeping into her mind, seemingly.
Yeah, the receive game has been a struggle for her so far in the last two games. And the start of this game as well. Yana very handcuffing in the service. Now, before this match started, I would have guessed, just from even watching in the Chinese Super League and throughout the year, how much trouble the opponent has had receiving Hirano's serves. But the serves of Yana have been more effective throughout. Fortune off the top of the net in the apology, but a 4-point lead. Now 5. Extended one more for Yana.
Things are starting to run away from the Japanese player now. She looks a little bereft of ideas. Stony silence and disbelief of the acceleration off of this backhand.
From the body language and the speed of that ball, I was just waiting to see what happened. Every once in a while, a shot is hit so hard, and depending on the body of the opponent, it's a little bit tough to tell.
Yana's body language, you can see that she's frustrated there because she knows that she's kind of not meaning to, but she's relinquishing her grip and the stranglehold that she has over the momentum right now, over the young player. Needs to keep her down.
Solid cover on the middle from Yana, but the follow-up Again, the little bit of difference that it makes that Hirano finds the middle here, even though the ball comes back, still gets Yana backed off the table just a little bit and out of position. We've got a timeout on the side of Yana. This is definitely an important moment here. Started to feel like the match was, or the game was running away, and if Yana gets into a 3-2 lead, it's going to be real tough for Hirano.
Well, it would have been three games in a row. That's why, absolutely, very, very significant.
And I think you mentioned it earlier that it was Hirano who looked puzzled, trying to figure out some strategy. She just couldn't escape the cuffs that were put on. And now she ices the neck and the top of the head to stay cool. It's funny, the body is going to stay hot, the blood flowing, the sweat and all that, but the head and the neck to stay relaxed, make good decisions. It's very easy to get hot in the head and start playing a little bit out of your wisdom. This is where people tense up or get a little bit overly ambitious. It's important to be able to think, you know, you've got the physicality, but the mental aspect of the game, high-speed kung fu chess, some have likened it to.
Cool, calm, and collected, absolutely.
So that's 3 points in a row from down 2-8. Miu Hirano needs to continue this streak. Again, getting in early in the point, finding the middle of Yana, which is a very small middle considering how short her strokes are.
5-8.
Anything to back Yana off the table, then play the wide angles out of reach.
That's what she did so well against Fung.
Not a bad receive, though. Hirano, I think, was hoping for something a little bit more crushable out to the backhand. And this is the, you know, shorter on the forehand side, follow up deep to the backhand technique. Good read from Hirano on the heavy push. The pushes of Yana throughout the match have been very effective. Look how open the face is on the racket. It's almost like a chop mid-rally. Heavy underspin again, now 4 game points for Yana to take her 3rd straight game. This would even the scores head-to-head as far as their match record goes. Still a ways to go, though. Missed time there. Yana keeps mixing it up, and the timeout pays off. 11 points to 6 for a 3-2 lead. We'll be back for game 6 to see if it's the last or if Hirano can send it to a 7th right after this.
Fifth game, 11-6. She leads by 3 games to 2.
Yana up 3-2 now to start this off with the serve. And Paul, we were talking about how many times we've seen in this tournament players getting early leads and then the other coming back.
Yeah, it's really quite something how it has swung around so often in this tournament. Astonishing.
And while we definitely see it on the World Tour here and there, it just seems like this tournament has inspired people to fight in a different way. Could be the elements of pressure. Again, a bigger title here. This is culminating the year, the entire World Tour, which is appropriately named as players are traveling the planet actively, all continents. And this is for the big prize money and a big title. I think Hirano has to take a little bit more time there. The ball's deep on the table off the top of the net. Still make a quality shot. It's a tough ball to take. And now the timeout on the side of Miu Hirano. Was wondering when that was going to come.
Smacks of desperation a little bit, doesn't it? You know, she's had a lot of time to think about it in the minute between games, and now the timeout immediately here. It's look at the coach. He's very animated. He's just throwing stuff at her, but it's seemingly not sticking.
Well, the eyebrows definitely set the tone. I mean, looking at his face, this is someone who's trying to really make an assertive, you know, timeout here, something to get her inspired, to make it clear what needs to happen.
No eye contact as well from the player to the coach, or very little. Look, she's just looking around, almost like she just doesn't buy it.
That's very interesting. Coach Nakazawa has been a newer addition to Hirano. There has been some switching in the coaching. Can't tell you the specifics of when, but it is rare for me to see him in the corner. It's tough. I mean, Hirano is quite good at hitting spinny backhands first, following up and coming through, earning a slightly higher ball. Many players on the World Tour haven't even been able to block the first spinny backhand from Hirano into play. Yana doesn't seem bothered. Oh my goodness! 4 shots ago, it looked like it should have been over. Yana just slapping it back. See this one more time. She covers the ground so well. That shot looked like it would have finished it. Hirano pulling a rag doll out there, just throwing her whole head down to get the shot back. Possibly flash photography.
That's what I thought.
Appropriate call there. Hirano making sure she has the concentration and the vision she needs. The stands are dark. A flash will shine like a diamond, just like that shot did. Forehand killing shot there on the flip.
That was awesome. And quickly she saw that and got her body up over the table. Take it at its apex.
This wasn't a very high one to hit it that hard. That's an impressively confident receive. And this time
was that receive, but that got the abuse from the Hong Kong player.
It worked out last time Hirano did this. She was able to follow up, but the side spin was very clearly read. Yana calibrating and playing it out wide. Tough to know when it's going to come back. Yana's been so just resilient in her returns from even in over the table. This is what I talked about a little bit earlier with the short serve to the forehand and then exploiting the deep backhand part of the table. If she can get Yana in over the table and not flipping it.
Misread.
Yeah, and a little bit softer.
Contact, I think.
Maybe it did seem a little bit awkward here. Watch one more time. Softer, spinnier ball, much more shallow on the table. You'll watch how much inside, closer to the net. One's only about halfway down the table. Sending Hirano to the ground. It looked like the table has been turned. Yana was being run around in the backcourt trying to block. But pretty successful in doing it, just regaining her balance quite quickly. With all the fitness and the spring in the step of the young Japanese player, she might take longer steps, longer strides. Tougher to rebalance. Hirano's shots are so clean. The stroke on the forehand side gets the racket head down.
Body language and demeanor really picking up from the lady in black and red now. A couple of roars as well. Or little shrieks, we should say. Probably more appropriate. looking. Fast long serve. We haven't seen that for a while.
Right, you have to keep the receiver guessing. Again, predictability is your enemy in your game. Someone knows what's coming, they know what to do. Love the camera angle here. You can really see how fast the ball is going back and forth, how low to the net, how deep on the table. And a few shots, some variety from Miu Hirano. A little bit of side spin on the backhand block, counters. Changes the pace with a softer, spinny ball.
She's done well to work her way back into this match, having lost 3 consecutive games.
Yeah, you said it, Paul. I mean, it's such a difficult task, and we watched her looking clueless out there for some time. And not as any disrespect, just Yana was getting everything back. Hirano trying to find answers. Nothing was working, and now, look at the scoreboard. A 4-point lead, 2 points away from sending this to the decider. This is part of the Japanese women's program, the positive head shake. There was even in their program at the Japan Open, a little lesson on how to stay positive while playing. Big point there. You don't want to be at 9-7 when you're down with your back against the ropes. And now 4 game points to come into game 7 with some real confidence from Hirano. A little bit more than half long, but at the back edge of the table, a little traffic jam. 1 game point saved. Well-placed serve again, an indecision shot, sort of a half forehand flip. Was just thinking to myself, get ready for this. Get ready for a forehand flip, a powerful one, but she didn't have the room to take the shot with the power she wanted.
Serve was so low, she couldn't get underneath it.
Yeah, low and well placed, the half long. 80% of the serves at this level are going to be half long. And the answer to the heavy push, the rally continues. Hirano hangs in there 11 points to 8, and we are going to the decider. Grab your snacks and get a blanket if you're in a cold place, whatever you need to get comfy, because the most exciting game of the match coming up right after this. Back for game 7. Miu Hirano keeping this interesting, stopping the comeback train after 3 games in a row won by the 37-year-old Hong Kong Yana. Miu Hirano, the breakthrough star at the ITTF Star Awards. The flies keep breaking through, though. They've been coming back. It's like they never left, really. We got one here, too. First point of game 7, the last game of the match. Just missed time. Yana keeping the top spin on the block deep on the table as it accelerates and stays low under the racket.
Now, is this player going to have the timing issues that we've seen intermittently throughout?
Wow, having to work so hard to finally get that clean killing shot, the finishing backhand of Yana.
You had Hirano winning this point, 90% of the time, and then just denied by some brilliance off the backhand. Yana.
This is the effect of a quality short stroke blocking game. Only takes one knockout punch. Right on the line, the wide angles that started off the match for 2 straight games for Hirano. She's played those high-risk shots. It feels like it's been a while, but from the middle of the table, turns and wraps around the ball. Let's watch when she makes her move. There it is. Short stroke, keeps the racket head up. It's one of the most important things to make that turn from the middle.
Winner of this one has to play Han Ying, the 11th seed, German, world ranked 8th at 5 o'clock this afternoon. So they've got to do some serious recovery.
Wow.
Some food down, some fluids. The flies are back.
She actually stopped the serve for that and was gesturing, sort of miming little flies over the table.
It's strange because there's not been an issue at all so far over the last couple of days.
Flies on the fly, if you will. And it does make me want to just acknowledge how amazing this facility is. From entrance down to the players' court. We'll probably see, oh yeah, we'll see a lot of tournaments here over the years, I'm sure.
Ooh,
interesting. Yeah, I think he said stalling. Yeah, which is a bit surprising because it's quite clear why. Like it's not in their control if someone was walking around or taking too long at the towel. Guess that's the umpire's way of saying keep playing.
Responded well to it though, with respect. A good loopy backhand.
And the inside-out forehand here from the middle of the table, testing Yana on the backhand side. We know that Yana's best weapon is her backhand. She's solid all around, but I think if it's the forehand of Hirano coming into the backhand side, it reminds me of Jung Young-shik and Zhuang Zhiyuan yesterday. If Chwani could get that opening forehand in, as strong as the backhand of Jung Young-shik was, head-to-head, the forehand of Zhuang Zhiyuan wins.
It's almost an ego thing, that, wasn't it? A battle of the fast backhands.
So many, a game of chicken to see who will turn first. Yeah, they really do have such impressive backhands.
Both almost seemingly trying to break down the strength.
Just a moment's hesitation to turn for that forehand. Well placed by Yana. And again, that new rule coming in with the coaching. Since October 1st, you've been able to coach in between points. Miu Hirano felt like she needed a quick word. Didn't stall. Deep push, and they're going to switch sides to the table. Hirano with a little bit of momentum as she takes on the new side. It's interesting. We've seen different pushes. We've seen the long push from Yana, a little bit shorter here. Half long is a good way to tempt Hirano to try to attack and have to play a softer, spinnier ball or change her mind at the last moment. But instead, it was a long push from Hirano to get into the point.
Finish for the Japanese player here. It was just rat-a-tat.
And this is the second time that we've seen Hirano recover a net ball, jumping and keeping it deep on the table. I mean, this just comes with experience. The more you play, the more net balls you learn to get back. But it really does phase a lot of people, that change in timing when it clips the net. you start to think ahead to the outcome of the match and how the players will feel, this would be a super impressive comeback against the comeback for Miu Hirano to show mental strength, and it would be frustrating for Yana.
Yeah, just thinking exactly the same. 3 games in a row for Yana coming into this last deciding game.
Short side of the table, impressive placement, and again gets Yana over the table. Watch where Yana comes in for the short ball, the forehand flip, and then a quick reaction. Not an easy shot for Hirano, but a very wise plan to have. Second towel break of the game, and it's a 4-point lead. Encouraging, but never comfortable for Hirano. One of the beauties of the 11-point game, the plot twists and the turns come so quickly. You start to think about how impressive Hirano's comeback has been since losing 3 in a row. At 16 years old, to think about the focus and like the heart of steel out here, the fight. But it's not over yet. I think it's tightrope walking, they say. The last 3 steps of the tightrope is where the most people die. They think they're across, they lose their focus, and that's when they plummet.
Yeah, as that finish line nears. Reverse psychological dynamics.
Big point here. Hirano with a 3-point lead, a little bit of wiggle room, as opposed to 8-7. This is a comeback within a comeback against a comeback.
I thought there was going to be a flip kill actually off the forehand side of Yana there, because the pop-up receive sat quite high.
And now the 16-year-old Miu Hirano, the breakthrough ITTF star of 2016, has 4 match points to move on to the women's singles semifinal. Yep, she does it. A little bit off balance, but no problem. Very agile, and Miu Hirano spinning with the backhand to take it back, to claim the game and the match over Yana from Hong Kong in a flawless record of 2 matches to 0. It went the distance, and Hirano keeps going as the tournament continues. Stick around, we've got another match coming up after this short break.
That is Miu Hirano through to the women's singles semifinal.